You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Angelina Martin and Stephanie Sanchez.
Man, if the 49K pod intro doesn't get you pumped, I don't know. I just don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It gets me hyped every time. What's up, guys? It's the 49 Carats podcast, and it's episode 28. Isn't that insane? I say this every week. I'm like, oh my God, like whatever number it is. I'm like, I can't believe it. But I was seriously just thinking, I was like, I feel like we just had our 21st episode. I feel like we just turned 21. Now we're already 28, the same age as me. Like, that's
catching
nuts.
up to me too. So
yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. But couldn't be happier to have almost 30 episodes with my co-host, Steph Sanchez. Steph, how you feeling today?
Oh God. I am tired. I mean, there's been a lot. There's a lot to talk about. So I'm just excited to get into it, I guess.
Oh, there's so much to talk about. I have a cat digging into my leg. I'm sorry. I knew that was going to happen. But yeah, like you said, there's so much to talk about. But before we get into the episode, I just wanted to, of course, say rest in peace to John Madden, who passed away at the age of 85 yesterday. Obviously a big blow to anyone who enjoys football, watches football, and played his game. I know a lot of people were mourning the loss yesterday, including my boyfriend, Seth. He's a huge Raiders fan, and we all know what John Madden meant to the Raiders organization. Seth, actually, he was talking about John Madden. He's like, man, that was like Raider glory years. And he said, now we're a laughing stock. And I was like, you're not a laughing stock. I mean, maybe, but so I just wanted to start off the episode with that because, of course, that was something huge and sad that happened yesterday. But let's just hop into it, Steph. Before we get into the nitty gritty, the bad, the drama, the tea, let's start out with some 49ers history.
All right. This week in 49ers history, December 28th, 1992, Joe Montana played his last game as a San Francisco 49er. And it was actually his first time playing in a game since his 1990 injury in the NFC title game. He played the second half and threw 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he went out as good as you can go out, right?
With a bang.
Yeah, with a bang. Of course, Young was starting by then, and it was tumultuous times in the 49er quarterback lore. But I thought it was interesting. I was looking at this little tidbit of history. I always call them tidbits. I don't know where I don't even know where I came up with that word. But 15-year-old Tom Brady was at Joe Montana's final game. We know Brady is a huge Niner fan, but I just thought it was interesting that he was at that game, at Joe Montana's last game as a 49er. Joe Montana always told Tom Brady, retire a Patriot, end your career with, the team that has your heart and soul. Tom Brady's last game with the Patriots didn't go quite as well as Joe Montana's. And of course, he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer now, but I just thought that was interesting that Tom Brady happened to be there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. It also tells you how old Tom Brady is as well. Just a bit. And I mean, as always, I just marvel at the fact that he's still playing. But the reason that I thought this week in 49ers history, this particular one was a kind of good one or somewhat relevant to this week was because some of the talk this week was about did Garoppolo play his last game as a 49er?
Ooh, we're getting started. Okay.
We're gonna go right it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is very timely. I did not even connect the two. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about that, and a lot of people were like eulogizing. Yeah, that's eulogizing Jimmy G on the timeline. Like, if this was Jimmy's last game, like, I appreciate everything he's done. And we found out today that might not be the case. We may see Jimmy Garoppolo play in a 49er uniform again. So don't lose hope. Jimmy stands. He is not gone yet. The 49ers, though, they lost to the Titans 20-17 almost a week ago, Steph. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, I almost forgot what happened during that game. Unfortunately, I did not.
We can forget about it,
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it if we don't want to. But the Niners, they are 8-7 now, and they no longer control their own destiny. They can win out. They can, do everything that they need to do, and it can still not go their way if some other things happen, which I know we're going to get into later. They have a 70% chance of making the playoffs right now. And it was a really weird week for a team that's in a really weird spot now after that loss. We saw them lose to the Titans, of course. Jimmy G did not look like the Jimmy G that we've been seeing during the win streak prior to the Titans game. He threw 2 interceptions. The defense did not look like their usual selves against the Titans. I know we all thought that the defense was going to eat on Thursday night, and it didn't turn out to be the case. So I guess before we jump into the drama of the rest of the week, what were your thoughts about the game, Steph? Do you look at it differently now that we know Jimmy Garoppolo was injured in the second quarter, or kind of what are your thoughts? Because I was very not happy watching the game. I closed my laptop immediately. I was getting ready to go out of town while the game was going on, so I was running around my house carrying my laptop so I could get stuff done. But just what were your thoughts? And yeah, has your opinion changed?
I'm gonna answer that question first. Has my opinion changed? Hard to say. I mean, yes, it was a bad game for Jimmy, but this has always been the Jimmy experience, right? Even, not counting injuries in the picture, bad Jimmy always makes an appearance at some point, right? So I just took this game as this was bad Jimmy's coming out party once again. He was back, right? So I don't know. I can't really say, like, if had he not hurt his thumb, how differently the game could have been. I mean, it's hard to say. Was because he wasn't even playing that great before the injury. Like, yes, it was a great first drive, and the offense, was looking good. But after that first interception, it really felt like they should have been up a lot more earlier in that game. And the fact that they weren't, I think that ended up being what led to the loss, in my opinion, more so than the defense giving up the third and longs. It was just the fact that the offense just could not take advantage of the opportunities that the defense gave them early in the game. This game could have been put away way earlier, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, the 2 picks were huge. Aside from the picks, just a lot of errant throws, a lot of, like you said, bad Jimmy showing up. Now we have found out that he was injured. So in your opinion, is that why Jimmy played poorly? I know you said he was kind of playing not great anyway prior to the injury, but I mean, we have to kind of weigh that in, right? That he did hurt his thumb.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like, he also did have that drive at the end where he did look good. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not sure if we can really say that it hindered him that much. I mean, I don't know. It's easy to make that excuse, but I don't know if I can make that excuse for him.
Yeah, and of course, right, 100%. I totally agree with you. And of course, we're going to talk a lot about this injury today. This is pretty much probably going to be most of the episode about this injury and what the Niners are going to do, what's going to happen. A lot of new news came out today regarding that injury. But let's get back to the week of drama, because we had the Niner loss. We all saw Jimmy G look terrible. And then we hop on Twitter and we see that John Lynch is liking a tweet that says to leave Jimmy Garoppolo in Nashville. That was nuts. I mean, what were your thoughts when you saw that? Because I immediately thought that it had to have been an accident.
You thought it was an accident.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but I want to hear your thoughts really quick.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. More than anything, because these are the types of jokes that fans make and that fans like on Twitter, right? And retweet, whatnot. But to see the general manager, John Lynch, of all people,
dude,
this dude should just stay off Twitter, because he's had too many like Twitter issues. People thought he was hacked. It turns out he was just drunk tweeting, and maybe he drunk liked that tweet. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. I just thought it was kind of hilarious. This team is funny. It's entertaining. If anything, I felt bad for Jimmy, because he had to see that, and I mean,
so
it sounds like
awkward.
he took John Lynch's word for it, but I don't know if I could say the same.
Did anyone ask him about it?
Grant.
If they did, I missed it. Okay, what did he say? I missed that.
He said that he did talk to Lynch, and they pretty much.
Dude.
I mean, it sounded like Garoppolo believed John Lynch that it was just, wasn't anything serious. And
dude, okay, so before we get into like what it all means, so John Lynch is just, if you're listening to this, John Lynch is watching you on Twitter. Okay, he could see what you're saying. Like, that was kind of what I took away from it. I'm like John Lynch is he's in 49ers Twitter. Like, they, at the very least, he accidentally ended up on 49ers Twitter, right? So it makes you wonder, like, how much they do look at what people are saying about the team and how much they do see. So I thought that was interesting. But let's get into his response. So John Lynch has to play damage control, hops on Twitter, like, at this point, I mean, he had to say something, but at this point, just stay off Twitter, John. So he says that he accidentally liked the tweet about Jimmy in church. What? What?
In God's house.
In God's house, he's liking Jimmy slander. Like, what? What is going on? Okay, so we're gonna do cap or no cap right at the beginning of the episode. Steph,
have to
cap or no cap to John Lynch's excuse as to how this happened. Do you believe that he accidentally liked this tweet in morning mass?
Of all the cap or no caps that we have done, this is the most confident I am in saying this is cap.
Oh!
Biggest cap there ever was, in my opinion.
Oh my God. The biggest cap?
I think, yeah.
Bigger cap than Jimmy played well enough for us to win?
Well, because Shanahan still plays him, right? So
I'm crying.
Believe that. He could believe that. But anyway.
Okay, yeah.
And Chris believes me too, or he agrees. Cap.
Chris says cap. Okay, let's hear it.
And I'll tell you why. And Grant also pointed this out. One, it's ridiculous to even say that you were on Twitter during mass, and to make mass your excuse is actually hilarious to me. Why, like, of all of all places, of all things you could have been doing, like. And then I'm also wondering, how did this end up on his feed, right? Like, because he probably doesn't follow
Right. That's
that many people. So who from his followers list is even putting this on his timeline, right? Unless someone who he follows liked it, and then maybe he has one of those timelines that shows you what other people liked. I
right.
don't
So
know.
do you think maybe he was like searching like Jimmy Garoppolo's name to see what people were saying about the game, or like what do you think? How do you think he ended up there? It sounds like you have a little tinfoil hat moment going on.
I don't know how he ended up
He
there.
was
There's
tagged
so
in the
many.
tweet. He
There's
was
so
tagged in the
many.
tweet.
Oh, he was tagged in it. Okay.
That's what Christopher says. I'm trying to go back and find the tweet right now. Sorry, my eye itches really bad.
I guess he saw it in his mentions and like accidentally liked it. But like,
Yeah.
why can't you couldn't have just said that? Like, you could.
I want to read his actual what he posted. So just in case anyone missed it, this was John Lynch's response to liking a tweet that Jimmy G should be left in Nashville. Apparently, while in Christmas Eve mass with my family, I accidentally and unknowingly liked a tweet. Never intended to, and remain a huge believer in Jimmy. That's why we gave away 3 of our first round draft picks to trade up and get a quarterback. Merry Christmas to everyone. I did a little ad-libbing there. He didn't say quite all of that, but dude, hilarious. So you say Cap. That's Cap.
I said Cap. And another thing that Grant Cohn pointed out, John Lynch liked the tweet before 5 a.m. on Friday. I don't know what kind of churches he's going to, but I've never been to a mass any earlier than 5 a.m. I don't know. Can someone
5 a.m.
more
5 a.m.
devout
Christmas
than
Eve? Yeah, I'm like, I don't
Friday.
know about
Yeah,
church.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, was he in a different state? You know, was he like,
I guess if he was
away
on the
for the
East
holidays?
Coast, it might have maybe been more believable. But still, I'm like, why did he have to mention church? It's almost like he mentioned church to make it more believable.
Right,
Try
like
to
you could
make it
just
more
be like,
believable.
I accidentally liked it. I'm sorry. So I get what you're saying. Like, you're saying Cap because you don't quite believe the whole Christmas Eve mass excuse. I'm saying no, Cap, because, and listen here, I'll give my reasoning. Dude, it had to have been an accident. Like, are you disputing the fact that it wasn't an accident?
I mean,
There's
I
no
don't know.
way John Lynch, unless he just absolutely doesn't know how Twitter works and has no idea that people can see what he likes. Like, there's no way he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like that. Like, it had to have been an accident. No, I agree with you. The Christmas Eve mass, super weird. Like, I don't think you can pinpoint exactly when you accidentally liked a tweet, but I definitely think he accidentally liked it.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna judge you. I guess I just liked the chaos of it all, and a part of me wants to believe that he did indeed like this tweet.
Right. I think we both like have valid points, because I think there definitely is a chance, based on everything that we've seen, that he maybe doesn't know how Twitter works. Like,
or again, he could have been drunk again.
yeah,
You do things. You do things when you're drunk. I mean,
I do things when I'm drunk. I'll tell you. Yeah, I don't know. But what a weird, just terrible cloud to put over the locker room, right?
That was even before all of the other stuff.
Oh, are we talking conspiracy?
Yeah, like, this has just been like a week from hell if you're the 49ers.
Yeah, so all of that happens. We go enjoy Christmas. Everyone enjoys Christmas. Christmas games were great. Christmas weekend games were great. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. And we think everything's fine. We think Jimmy just sucks again. And we come to practice on Monday, and Jimmy Garoppolo is nowhere to be seen. So my first thought when Jimmy wasn't at practice was exactly what happened. Like, oh my God, he played poorly again, and here's another injury. So we didn't hear anything about this injury after the game, throughout the whole weekend, during the game, even though it happened during the game. So what were your thoughts when you heard Jimmy was injured?
Okay, first I'll say what my thoughts were when he wasn't at practice, because my first thought wasn't that he was injured.
Okay.
I'm actually
You thought he was
impressed
throwing a hissy fit?
I'm actually impressed you thought that. No, actually I didn't want to make any assumptions at all.
Love that.
Because I just don't think that's fair. And also, like, we were gonna hear from Shanahan. I remember it was like from the time that someone said and tweeted that Garoppolo was not at practice to the time that Kyle Shanahan was going to speak to the media is 40 minutes. So, or just about. And just the amount of immediate mayhem, chaos, and conspiracies that I saw in that time frame, I was like, I am not going to participate in this. Like, what are we even doing? What's the point? What's the point? You're literally going to find out in 40 minutes what
chaos.
You're literally about to find out what is the point of like your imagination running off on you and like making up, stories about why he wasn't there. What's the point? So I was like, I'm not, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait and see
Level-headed queen.
For once, I tried.
It is so hard not to jump to conclusions, especially like when you have this, as most of us do, like a voice box where you can go just kind of voice your thoughts on Twitter. And a lot of people did. Just rumor mill going crazy. So it comes out, obviously, like you said, Kyle talks to the media. He said that the team knew he jammed it. And we heard him today in his press conference say, I'm not a doctor, like 50 million times. I'm no doctor. Oh my God.
That's how you got to say that. Like,
so he's like, I'm no doctor. Because when he came out on Monday and said that it was jammed, and that Jimmy told them right when he got to the bench, like, dude, people were going crazy with that because right after that, Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter both come on Twitter and say that, oh my God.
Immediate.
Yeah. This is a severe injury. It's a UCL tear and fracture. He's going to need surgery. And oh my God, if the conspiracies hadn't already started when we saw Jimmy wasn't at practice, boy, were they rolling in. Once again, Kyle is lying to the media. They're trying to cover this up. So Kyle comes out today and literally, talks about the injury again, tries to clear things up, clears up the Rappaport and Schefter reports. And it was so funny because after anything he said about the injury, he would say, I'm no doctor. I'm not a doctor. Like, he was scared to like speak in medical terms because he's not a doctor. And like, people just run with it if he accidentally says the wrong thing. So
which he didn't. He technically didn't because on Friday I forget what day. On Monday, he said it was a sprain, which today he clarified it is a sprain. It just happens to be a grade 3 sprain, which means it's a tear. But he wasn't technically wrong.
No, because and he clarified, what he had told. I believe he said he spoke with Schefter or Rappaport, and this is where this came from. With the tear in the thumb, the ligaments are attached to the bone. It was so funny hearing him explain this, but he was like, I guess ligaments are attached to bones, and so when it tore, it it possibly ripped a piece of bone off. Does that sound insane to you? I obviously, like, yeah, I believe it. And also, I'm not a doctor.
No
So, like,
doctor. Cannot say.
but so it comes out today after, all this Trey Lance talk and, like, this week's the week. Jimmy might play on Sunday. He wasn't able to practice today, but they had him seeing what he could do. He may be out there tomorrow. They're going to give it a go, and he could play on Sunday, and he does not need surgery. Boom.
I just want to reiterate the roller coaster that has been these last 3 days. First,
Dude,
he jammed it. First he jammed it. So jam, like, okay, I jam my finger sometimes, like, you'll be fine.
Right.
And then it's a whole tear and fracture. He's out the season. He's not playing another snap for the 49ers. And then today he has a chance to play. And then after practice, he didn't practice. He's not going to play. That's just been like the roller
done
coaster.
For
the roller coaster. But so we are no doctors, right? But I just wanted to point out something that Pro Football Doc actually mentioned, because he is a doctor.
Great
so
follow.
He did tweet this out earlier. So he again said the grade 3 sprain is a tear, and it just makes it tough to spin the ball. And another thing that he said was that they are pretty pessimistic on Jimmy playing again this season. 49ers, at least so far, it doesn't seem like they are pessimistic. At least they're not willing to admit, maybe,
Right.
But I'm going to listen to the doctor.
Yes, I believe the doctor knows what he's talking about. And why give the Texans the heads up, right?
Well, I have thoughts about this.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't really like this, like, 50-50 thing. He might play. They did this against when Trey Lance ended up starting against the Cardinals, right? All week it was like Jimmy might play. Did they not, like, split at least some reps that week? I think most of the week Jimmy did not play, but I think it was either Friday or I don't know. I don't remember, but
right. Wasted valuable time for Trey to prepare.
Not just time, but, like, I want to know what you're telling the team. I get what you're telling the media, and I get why you want to do it. You want to have an advantage against the Texans. You want them to prepare for both quarterbacks. But what are you telling the team? Does the team know who's going to start? Because I would rather have the team know who's going to start, because I don't want this, like, back and forth. How's the team supposed to rally behind, Trey Lance and completely trust Trey Lance and be all in on the Trey Lance game plan if they don't know for sure that he's going to be starting? Yeah. Wouldn't it be better if they knew who was starting, so they could be like, all right, like, let's get ready for this game plan? Because I imagine those game plans are going to be different. So,
and we hope that that's not the case. We hope that the team knows who's going to start on a Sunday, right? They may know what we don't know, and we hope that's the case. I thought it was interesting what Jimmy said about why he didn't mention the thumb injury. He said, for multiple reasons. That's just not me. I tried to be low key about it and just tell the trainers. He wasn't trying to put that out there. He said there's cameras all around, and he, why?
Well,
why?
Okay. I thought about this too. I'm like, that's selfish, right? You think that's selfish? Is that why you're like?
I don't know. Like, I literally don't know what to make of it. I don't know. I don't get what the big deal is.
Obviously he didn't know it was like he had any tear or fracture, right? Because then, maybe he would have rethought that decision. But I'll just say this. I mean, like, I think as, like, every athlete, and I'm no athlete, but
yeah, you are. Come on.
But I do think that athletes want to play. They want to be out there. And so, if we're going to praise other players for toughing it out and wanting to be out there, I'm not going to judge Garoppolo on him wanting to play and be out there. He finished the game. And like I said,
finished the game.
he did have that, great drive at the end, but I don't know. I'm not going to judge him. Had he performed, it could have been way worse, his performance.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad enough where we were like, oh, he's hurt,
So do we think it was selfish in the fact that the one question that has always permeated and existed about Jimmy Garoppolo is his injury history, his availability, can he stay healthy? Do we think that he was trying to keep this a secret, play through it, and be ready to go on Sunday without it ever even needing to be an issue, so that it wasn't another Jimmy G injury?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little selfish.
And not just because of that, not just like his trade value or his value for next season, right? But like you have Trey Lance at your tails at all times, that might have crossed his mind. He did say for multiple reasons, right? So
yeah,
that could have been one of
what
them.
What are the reasons? So that kind of leads us into, will we see Trey Lance on Sunday? Here's my thing. This sounds like a pretty serious injury.
Yes.
I don't know if they're just playing mum about it, if they're just being coy, if they want to keep it on the DL, what's really going to happen this week during the game, who's going to start. But if they send an injured Jimmy Garoppolo, who we know everyone has watched how Jimmy Garoppolo plays when he's injured through various different injuries. Earlier in the season, we saw him injured. And last season, we saw him trying to play on an injury. And it's just never good. It's never good.
Right.
So here's my thing. If they trot out Jimmy G with this thumb injury, what does it say about their faith in Trey Lance? And what does that say about like where we are as an organization?
And that's another thing, and that's another reason why this like, oh, Jimmy might play thing annoys me, because it's like, what are you trying to say about Trey Lance? You rather have a less than 100% Jimmy Garoppolo over an 100% Trey Lance? I don't know. And that's why I rather. So to me, it was, and this sounds terrible, but like, just know why I'm saying this. It's not because I'm glad that Jimmy is hurt, but the fact that he wasn't able to practice today from the team standpoint is better, because at least there's clarity. Okay, we know Jimmy is not going to play, or he's probably a long shot if he wasn't able to practice today, right? That's the way I look at it. I'm not saying I'm glad that he's hurt. Obviously, I would never say anything like that, but they need some clarity, right? They need to know who is going to be starting. Like, the sooner the better.
Yeah. And, to the team's credit, Kyle Shanahan did say today that Trey Lance prepares every single week as if, he's going to be starting. And I'm excited to potentially see him start to see the difference from when he started against the Cardinals. I think that's going to be really cool to analyze and compare and contrast. And we've been hearing that he's absolutely killing it in practice, right? So, with getting quarterback one reps in practice and actually going into practice with the mindset that actually this time he really could be starting, I'm excited to see him play if he does this week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like, from a time perspective, it seems like everything we've been hearing about Trey Lance in the last week or 2 weeks or so, it feels like this is a good timing for everything. A couple weeks ago, Matt Mayoko said on his podcast that he heard Trey Lance was looking good in practice. And then last week, or it might have been 2 weeks now, I don't know. Fred
exist.
Warner, it's a construct. Fred Warner said that Trey Lance had been dicing up the defense. And then on Monday, of course, because of the injury, Shanahan was asked about Trey Lance, to which he said, this last month of Trey has been his best consecutive 4 weeks of practice since we've had him. He's had a number of good days and he's had some bad days like most guys do. But as far as his consistency, I feel this last month has been his best. I think if you talk to the defensive coaches, defensive players, myself watching, I think we'd all feel the same.
Are we tinfoil hatting?
I mean, like all of this, just like, yes, it's building up the anticipation to see Trey Lance.
It's like they've slowly been preparing us for this. Am I going out on a limb here?
It's like,
is that too crazy?
It's like when when a movie comes out about something very futuristic, they're trying to see how we feel about it. And bad analogy.
We're guinea pigs.
They're just like giving us a sample and then
seeing how we react.
It's just a social experiment. All of this, actually.
They're like, oh, they like Trey Lance. Okay.
This is a whole social experiment that Stanford is conducting. John Lynch is working with them. Like that's what's happening. Kidding. Please don't leave.
Richard Sherman is involved.
Please keep listening. We're just kidding. But no, I'm excited to see Trey Lance. I mean, I don't think that he was necessarily ready to start, against Arizona. And I think that was evident in the game plan as well. He ran 16 times in that game. Not ideal, but I think it was because
they were so not prepared.
They were not ready. And again, part of that was because they did the back and forth shit. They kept saying Garoppolo might play. But anyway, I think now he is ready. And also just based on everything that we've been hearing about him, I think there's been a lot of growth in these last few weeks. And what better matchup than against the Texans too? And I know we'll get into the Texans preview, but this is an ideal situation for Trey Lance to get another start.
Yeah. I mean, it's only Wednesday, so much can happen between now and then. So much, I mean, right? Like, look at where we are now and where we were a week ago. So I have a question for you. Is it a coinky-dink? Is it a coinky-dink, a coincidence that anytime Jimmy plays not poorly, because we've seen him play poorly, but just a little extra poorly, that an injury happens to pop up? I mean, we saw the ankle last season that was premised by poor play. We saw the calf/Achilles injury weeks 3 through 7, and now we have this thumb injury. So I ask you, Stephanie Sanchez, is this a coincidence?
God.
And this is touchy territory. Like, people will get
it is, because I am not the kind of fan that's gonna sit here and say that they are faking injuries.
But
I know that's not what you're suggesting. I know that
it's not at all. But you and I know, and this is fact, that players who have believed that they were getting ready to come back have been placed on IR when they weren't even injured anymore, and that's a fact. So, like, I just want people to keep that in mind, that it's not cut and dry, and that things like that do happen. So just keeping that in mind. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I want to go back to this comment that Christopher said. Jimmy or his camp frequently blame injuries for his performance when convenient. Do I think that's true? Yes. I don't think the injury is fake.
Right.
But I think they are quick to say, "Oh, but he was hurt. He was hurt." Guys,
he's like, he throws a pick and they just like bring him back to the locker room really quick and just like snap his thumb. They're like, we got to cover this up.
It's like, can you get sacked really quick? We'll just say it happened.
Yeah.
Then. Can you,
yeah. Anyway, carry on your thought. I'm just
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to say that, but I do think that yes, they do try to, if an injury does occur, and it happens to be, when Garoppolo plays badly, which usually they correlate, right? Yes, they're going to point the finger at the injury, which, like, it makes sense, but at the same time, like, I don't think it's doing Garoppolo any favors, just the fact that he is, I hate to say injury prone, but he does get hurt a lot. And that in itself is already not good for his trade value, more so than the playing. Right. So it is what it is. I don't think they're really helping, but I guess it doesn't hurt to do that. I don't know.
Because it seems like every time we're, finally fed up, it's like, oh, well, like, am I fed up because he wasn't 100%? Like, do I have the right to be fed up because he wasn't 100%? So I agree with you. I definitely don't think like it's not a coincidence, because I think that he, really is injured, and I think it does impact your play. It's just such a hard topic, like, because there is so much conspiracy that would go into it to think the opposite, right? Like, that's like too far. Like, that would just like take away the magic of the sport, right? If things like that were going on. But I don't know, like, there's some crazy stuff floating around Twitter. Do we want to do our Twitter tizzy, like the actual Twitter tizzy, right now before we hop into the rest of the injuries? Since we're still on the topic,
let's do it now.
So it was, dude, this was so funny. It was pointed out on twitter.com. If you're not familiar with the website, you should check it out. It's super fun and doesn't impact my mental health at all. You might have seen people wondering why Jimmy G was able to open a water bottle after the game. People were pointing out that clip. Do we have the clip? We have the clip. Oh my God. Yes. Look at that. We're going to, so
should we do a film breakdown of?
So as you can see, he picks up the water bottle first with his right hand, holds it in his left, and unscrews it with his right. That's a pretty tricky maneuver. I've done it myself a few times. It didn't look that good when I did it, but I will say it takes a lot of oomph to open up a water bottle. So we need to zoom and enhance that, as Marca said. So people were like, how did he open this water bottle? Y'all need to chill. Like, that's all I gotta say. You guys need to chill. Stuff, like, I don't even know where to go with this. Adrenaline is a hell of a drug, right?
Yes.
And if you've ever had any kind of injury, whether anywhere on your body, you know that as days go by, injuries get worse. They swell. You really see, like, the extent of how bad it is. So I don't think, like, hearing this injury and hearing how it happened, like, I think I could definitely unscrew a water bottle directly after a game. Well, I don't know. What do you think, Steph?
Yeah, this suggestion that people were making, he was able to open a water bottle, he's not hurt. He finished the game. He finished the game. He was making passes. He
was out there playing football.
Like, I think that's harder to do than opening a water bottle after the game. What do you think?
Like you said earlier, he had that last drive that, like, didn't look bad. He was obviously still able to, like, move his hand and do things. I don't know. Opening a water bottle, do you even use your thumb for that? Really? Like, isn't a majority of the
clip
torque
again? He did use his thumb, but still, it's like it's preposterous to think that, like, he'd be unable to do that.
You can see the launch angle of the water bottle, and a majority of the torque is coming from his pointer and index fingers. So I'm just saying, you guys relax, dude. Relax.
Yeah,
everything's Niner fans at this point, everything is a conspiracy. I don't blame us. Like, we've had a hell of the last 2 years. It's been torture. But like, guys, we're not in the metaverse yet. Like, it's still reality. So just take a breather. Jimmy G. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just another thing, because Marco said here there are guys with broken ribs who play to the end of the game, and we applaud players who do that and tough it out, right? And Garoppolo does it, and we're like, no, this can't be real. The injury is fake. Have you ever doubted? Has there been anyone else who you have doubted that their injury is real? Like, think about how ridiculous that is.
I'm like trying to think if there ever has been.
Right, like you don't think that about any other player on this team. So why Garoppolo? It's just not fair. I don't.
There's so much politics involved.
I know, but that's just wrong.
Yeah.
you think he wants to be hurt? This is not helping his case for a new team next year.
I will say, like, a lot of people thought the same thing about his ankle last season. I think that's where a lot of this is stemming from. Like, we all have it in our minds that at the end of the day, Jimmy is all about his trade value, which I don't know why everyone thinks that and why they don't think he's a team guy when, the entire locker room says that he's the greatest leader on the team and that they would like basically follow him like onto the beaches of Normandy. So I don't know. Crazy. Hashtag Thumbgate. It's been quite the week. And Jimmy wasn't even the only injury that we need to talk about. Do you want to talk about the other injury updates that we got?
Yeah, actually, the one that bums me out the most, and just because he's been huge on the defense lately, and it was his first game back after his elbow injury. Aziz Al-Shaair, he now has a knee sprain, and he's going to be out at least 2 weeks. Mitch Wishnowsky, our glorious punter, Aussie, oi. He was actually placed on. That was terrible. Actually, I should not have done that. Announcing this, I don't know what came over me. I don't know what came over me. I'm so sorry.
Dude.
Edit that out. Wishnowsky was placed on the COVID-19 reserve list. He is actually the first COVID. No, I don't think he's the first, but I think he is one of the. Ever since all these breakouts have been happening and all over the NFL. I don't know. Maybe he. Yeah,
dude, that was so funny, Steph. I'm dead. Aussie.
Can we forget that
COVID-19? Goodbye.
That was terrible. Terrible. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to make light of the fact that
no, and I'm sure he's like asymptomatic. I'm sure he's all good, and COVID-19 is legit. So prayers up.
Which that's a good point. I am actually glad that you mentioned that because the CDC has changed the what's it? The quarantine basically. Time.
Yeah.
So now it's 5 days.
Yeah.
So I think that would mean he has a chance to play if he's asymptomatic.
He's vaccinated.
And he's vaccinated. Yeah, and he's vaccinated, yeah. But then in any case, the team did try out some free agent punters, and that would be an interesting wrinkle to the game if he's not able to play. So that's something, we'll keep an eye on. Some good news, though, Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon are going to be practicing this week. So it's good to see the running back room get healthy. We'll need that.
Yeah.
And
I would love to see Sermon get just a crap ton of reps these last games. That's just my opinion.
Me too. I can't wait to see him get 2 snaps.
Yeah.
If at all, if any at all.
Yeah, he's not gonna play.
Inactive.
I mean, but to be fair, Jeff Wilson Jr., he's healthy, right? He's like not.
Oh yeah, he's healthy. And just like another thing I'll say, if Elijah Mitchell is active for this game, which it's trending in that direction, I would say Jeff Wilson Jr. has done quite enough in these last few weeks that I would make him the 1A JWJ and make Elijah Mitchell the 1B, at least while Mitchell's like ramping up.
Right.
He's been out a few weeks
he's just
now.
He'll be very fresh and green from that injury. So completely agree with what you're saying. Protect him. Don't just toss him out there in case they do make the playoffs, right? I mean, he's going to be very much needed for that playoff run, which is totally going to happen.
You're putting it out there. Manifesting.
Putting it out. Manifesting it. Even though I think like 2 weeks ago I said I didn't want to watch this team in the playoffs, but I change my mind every week. So just don't mind me. All right. So now we have to ask the question, and feel like my opinion on this has changed with the information that's come out, like I said, with Jimmy Garoppolo. But was this loss to the Titans the worst loss of the season? Because to me, it was the worst that Jimmy G has looked all season. And of course he was injured. So like take that with a grain of salt. But to me, I thought it was the worst that he's looked all season. The Titans though are a good team to me still, despite how bad they've been playing. So I don't know. What do you think? Was this the worst loss of the season?
I think it was the worst timed loss of the season.
Oh, for sure.
Like, and to me, so that makes it the worst loss. There have been so many frustrating losses, and I think I even have like a screenshot of like they've lost a shit ton of like one possession, not one possession, like one score games. I'm trying to find the screenshot. I may not. But in any case, it's just like they've had a lot of frustrating losses this season. But I think the timing of this one was just not ideal. They had to win this one, and you can say that about every game, right? But this, just the fact, all of the playoff scenarios surrounding this game, and now they need help. It's not just like them winning out, but something that Christopher did point out, and yes, it's true, after the Saints lost to the Dolphins on Monday, it did become more likely that the 49ers do make the playoffs, but still,
should they win out.
Yeah. So they can actually clinch this week if they win versus the Texans, and if the Saints lose again. So the Saints are playing the Panthers, so we are lifelong Panthers fans as of today, and we are just hoping that they are able to clinch a playoff spot. So we'll be rooting for a 49ers win and a Panthers win. And
it would have been so much easier had they just won on Thursday. Like, they would have controlled their own destiny. They wouldn't have had to rely on the Dolphins, which huge Dolphins fan. I don't think that this was the worst loss of the season, but yes, like 100% the worst timed loss. Absolute must-win game. Absolutely winnable game. It's just it's so hard to say like, oh, they should have won that game when Jimmy G gets hurt. Who knows if the outcome would have been different. And a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo is definitely still capable of throwing 2 interceptions in the game and making all the terrible throws that he did. So, I mean, we'll never know. But to me, the worst loss of the season, and I kind of want to do a rankings list for our next episode, ranking the losses, but the loss to the Packers at the beginning of the season was definitely the worst loss of the season, in my opinion, because look at the Packers now, right? like
they're still stings.
It's just, it would have been a great win. They had it, they could have won it. That game still hurts. Maybe it's just because I had to watch it in the car that made it 10 times worse. But so yeah, we've talked about what needs to happen for the 49ers to make the playoffs. They just need to win. That's every game just now is a playoff game. Just win, baby.
The bottom line, because I've seen so many people break down like the different scenarios, right? And every time I feel more confused. I'm just that kind of person. But
no, seriously.
The bottom line is the 49ers need to finish with a better record than the Vikings, the Eagles, and the Saints. Okay. So,
It's fine.
and yeah,
It's fine.
so
It's gonna be fine.
do it.
And no big deal. They just have the Texans coming up, who just blew the Chargers out of the water. I would say that was the upset of the weekend. Can they beat the Texans?
They sure as hell better. I mean, they better beat the Texans. This is still a bad team. Yes, they did just upset the Chargers. My hope is that they're like, ecstatic from that win, and they take their sights off the 49ers a bit.
Right.
And who
You've
knows,
done enough.
maybe this having to prepare for both quarterbacks, which who knows if they even believe the 49ers at this point.
Who does?
Fair question, or fair statement.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they should beat them. The Texans are getting Brandon Cooks back, which is, that's a boost for them. Makes it more impressive that they beat the Chargers even without him. Their pass defense is not as bad as their run defense, but their run defense is so terrible that I think that's going to be the key for the 49ers to win this game. And as we know, when the 49ers run the ball as they do so well, they control games. They can impose their will. And so I really do feel like that's going to be, the key to this game. And I think I feel pretty confident that the 49ers should be able to do that. No matter who is under center, that needs to be their game plan, just running it down their throats. The Texans have a bottom 10 rushing defense. They're allowing an average of 5.2 yards per carry to opponents in their last 3 games, 4.4 yards per carry on the season. Okay, yeah, I already read that note, but they're also allowing the 3rd most yards per game overall. So, I mean, I think those things bode well for the 49ers. And I feel like the defense is going to be fired up for this game just because of the fact that, I didn't blame them for last week's loss, but, I think they probably have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. Just the fact that they gave up all of those 3rd and longs, like that's frustrating. So I think they definitely turn it around and we see a consistent performance from them throughout the whole game, and they're going to need it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, I'm taking everything you just said with a grain of salt because, before the Titans game, we were like, oh my God, like Ryan Tannehill is throwing like the most interceptions in the league right now. Nick Bosa's going up against a 3rd string tackle, so I feel like we were all kind of thinking that they were just like we are right now. Like, the statistics are there for this to be a great matchup for the 49ers, and it didn't really turn out that way. So, looking at everything you just said, it really is there for the taking. It's just, can they execute? And that's been kind of the question all season long. And like you said, a lot of it does depend on who's playing quarterback. But at the end of the day, go back to your identity, run the ball down their throats and win the game, no matter who's at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ryan Johnson asked if we had any John Madden memories. If you came in late, we talked about John Madden at the beginning of the episode. I personally don't have any John Madden memories other than playing Madden, right? I mean, I kind of mentioned that at the beginning of the episode. We all, that game has had an impact on all of our lives. I don't know anyone who hasn't played Madden.
What was your first Madden that you had, or your favorite?
Oh God. I don't even know what year it was because my brother had them all, right? So I would play his. I honestly couldn't tell you what year it was or what was my favorite. But it was cool to see like some players that have been on the cover, like sharing their covers and saying like what an honor that was. Like, it's a freaking video game, right? And look what it turned into. It was like an award in itself to be on the cover. Richard Sherman tweeted his out. And I mean, wow, just what an impact. Did you have any Madden memories that you wanted to share? It's hard for us because we're a little
Yeah,
younger, right?
not as a
and Niner fans.
not as a as him as a coach or as a broadcaster, right? Like that was
Yeah,
slightly
boom.
before our time, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy because his legacy lives on, like, you know, it goes beyond just the video game. It goes back to the broadcasting and his coaching time, and you know, but also the video game was great in itself, as you mentioned. My first Madden was Madden '04. Michael Vick was on the cover. Blink 182 was on the soundtrack.
Yes,
Um,
that's awesome.
I do remember that. I used to, you know, put that volume up on my Game Boy because I played it on my Game Boy, not the most optimal Madden you know, gameplay, but it was still pretty cool. And yes, Michael Vick was freaking unstoppable
Yeah.
in that game. Yeah, so that's my Madden memory.
Yeah, RIP. Isn't it funny how, like, we remember the soundtracks from the video games we played as kids? Like, do video games even really have soundtracks now? I don't know. I'm not as
I don't really play.
like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that soundtrack was the shit. I'm
Dude,
just saying. Yeah. So here
what a
I
time.
am, getting older all the time. You guys know, you guys know what I'm talking about? Anyway, this has been another episode of the 49 Carats podcast. We don't know what kind of situation we're going to be in
We
next
don't know.
episode. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if I'm going to be alive tomorrow, in the words of Kyle Shanahan. But as always, we thank you for joining us. Thank you to our viewers that, you know, always stay active in the chat. We love chatting with you guys and answering questions and talking with you. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/Stragosaurus. Follow Stragosaurus and Andrites on Twitter. And of course, follow at 49K Pod on Twitter, and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. So until next week, we'll be seeing you. Bye.
Peace.